Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer for men and women. You don't have to have poor lifestyle habits to have high lipoprotein a. Diet and exercise has little to no impact in lowering lipoprotein A. Unfortunately, for some people, the first sign of disease is a heart attack or a stroke.
I knew nothing about stroke or high Lp(a) before my stroke. I thought it was something that only occurred in elderly people and not a 15-year-old healthy football player. I had a practice after school at 1:30. It was very, very hot. We ran probably 50 or 60 sprints in 120-degree weather. I got home, took a nap, went to the bathroom, and in the bathroom I looked in the mirror and everything was wavy and it looked like a kaleidoscope. And then the next thing I knew, I was on the ground looking up at the ceiling under the toilet. And I couldn't get up or move my left side.
About a little bit before 8, we heard him get up and walk into the bathroom, and then we heard 3 big loud booms. And we went running up the stairs, and he had locked the bathroom door so we couldn't get in. So we were banging on the door trying to get in to help him. And he was talking to us, but he didn't sound like himself. He sounded very monotone, and his words were kind of slurred. We kept telling him to unlock the door, and he kept saying, I am, but we knew he wasn't moving. So we finally got the door open, and I went in and I saw Justin laying on the floor, just drenched in sweat. And I thought maybe he had just gotten dizzy from being dehydrated with football. So I was gonna sit him up, and I looked and I noticed his whole face, his whole left side of his face was drooping. So I asked him to move his left arm, and he couldn't. And I said, move your left arm. And he reached over with his right arm to pick up his left arm. And I knew that he had had some kind of a stroke.
The paramedics came and pulled me out of the bathroom and took me to Sunrise Children's Hospital, where they found out that I suffered a major stroke.
Before, I just really thought it happened to older people. I didn't know too much about it. Quite shocked. I got the call from his mom before school one day, and it was just like, she texted me, hey Jared, call me as soon as you get this. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to give him a ride to school or something, not thinking too much of it. And I called him, and she's like, yeah, last night Justin had a stroke. And then she told me what hospital they were at, and I came as fast as I could. When I first arrived at the hospital, I came into the room and he was just laying there, and the only way you knew he was alive was the heart rate monitor, and it wasn't a situation that anybody wants to be in. It was very sad, it was filled with tears, and it was just not fun. It was not something I wanted to be a part of, but I had to be there for my best friend.
I was at football practice. I just got off. It was a very long practice. And my aunt came to come pick me up from practice to go to the hospital. She told me that something had happened to Justin, and then I needed to come with her right away. So the whole way there to my house, my heart was pounding. Every minute goes by like an hour. And I just see an ambulance speeding past us coming from our house. So we turn around, and that's when I knew it was serious, because I knew that he was on that ambulance. And it was really bad. It wasn't gonna be just a little thing. I was able to talk to them, and they said that Justin had had a stroke, and my heart sank, and I didn't know if I was ever gonna talk to my brother again, you know? Like, I didn't know if he was going to be all there upstairs, or if he was even gonna be able to speak or remember who I was or be the same person that he was before. But for a couple of days, I didn't know if I'd ever talk to him again. The next thing he did was sign H2O for water. He was still intubated at the time. He was still under all the drugs. He was just coming off of them because they were preparing to pull out the tube. And he was signing for water, so I still knew that he had like some sort of cognitive ability, and he was still intelligent like he was before.
In my situation, at 15, I had so much going for me, and then it was all taken away. Some people would get down and think it was unfair, but in all reality, the most important thing is to accept it and just move on and be great in my own way. The stroke happened about 2 years ago, and I would say at the about 1 year mark, there were still some considerable deficits. I had considerable left side weakness in my arm.
Well, it's been a very hard experience. It's been 2 years, and it's still, we still deal with stuff every day. At the time, I think we were just begging for our son to be okay.
At first, I was estimated to be in inpatient recovery in the hospital for about 6 to 8 months, but I worked very, very hard, about 6 to 8 hours a day of just therapy, no downtime, hard work every day. So I was released from the hospital in about 2 weeks, and I was walking on my own. They told me that that it was partially because of my young age, as I was only 15. They said if I was more elderly, that I would have probably passed away from the stroke. And at 15, the brain recovers much quicker.
It was amazing. He never gave up. He never took pity on himself.
The attitude from the second he woke up has been, what do I have to do to get well? And he wanted to continue playing football. Unfortunately, he's not able to, but he still practices with his team. He's still rostered on the team. That's a huge motivational factor for him to keep going.
The biggest thing with my teammates was a constant source of motivation, knowing that they wanted me to be back on the field, and even if I couldn't, that they would still have my back. And my coaching staff, like Coach Redbin, Coach Forrest, they always kept me humble or kept me laughing, kept me working, and it was a big part of my motivation.
You could tell it hurt him because he loves football, and it was like he never really his personality never really changed. He always tried to keep that happy mood going all the time, and I think that helped a lot of us. Especially that day that it happened, it hurt a lot of us. I remember looking over to one of my other teammates, and he was just, seconds later, he was already in tears. And I think knowing that he was still the same person, he's still gonna be happy, I think that helped a lot of us.
It's kind of terrifying that it could happen to his kids or my kids, or yeah, I will have all of my kids checked, and everyone that I'm related to should be checked as well, because as soon as you find out that one of your family members has what he does, then you should get checked right away, because you don't want to find out by having a heart attack or a stroke.
It's a quick switch, because at 15, before my stroke, I was pretty dead set on playing college football and going to college on a scholarship to play college football. And now I can't do that, so I have to find another means of making it in life, and it's quite difficult.
My advice to parents would be that if you know you have any kind of family history of early onset cardiovascular disease, heart attacks or stroke in your family history, to be tested and to live a healthy lifestyle as much as you can. Watch what you eat and exercise, and you have to ask specifically for somebody to check for lipoprotein A, because it's not a standard test. We found out after the fact that this is one of the contributing factors to Justin's stroke, and I wish we would have known ahead of time. Well, I hope he knows, but we couldn't be more proud of the young man that he is. And just watching him come through this, and now to the point where he wants to reach out and help other people regain their hope after they go through something. I'm just tremendously proud of him.
But now that I've had an injury, suffered an injury, I can empathize with both sides of the spectrum in terms of recovery and training an athlete. Therefore, I want to be a physical therapist to help people maybe get back on the field or improve their game of football in any aspect they want to. You should always be thankful and grateful for what you have today, because you never know what tomorrow can bring when the sun rises. When I was 15, I was a very successful football player, and I was starting to get recruited and starting to play really well. I had a big ego. And then the next day I was in a hospital, couldn't do anything, bedridden. It was very humbling, and I wish I could go back and just play one more down. Or it causes a lot of heartache for a lot of families. It's a silent killer, really. You don't know, not a lot of doctors know about it, and it should be looked into more heavily.
Get yourself and family tested for high LPA. Develop an aggressive prevention plan to lower all your controllable risk factors until we have a therapy for high LPA.